What the hell are you playing? What is this animal piece of shit?
Look, I was playing the game the whole time, alright? Chocolate. I can explain. You know what? Today's game really brings back memories of mine. I mean, it was one of the first PS2 games I remember owning back in the day. This was probably around 2003 when I first got my PS2. But yeah, I remember loving it so much, and I have fond memories of just having a blast with the game. Simply because you got to play as a dog.
I remember playing the demo of this game, and I've actually got the demo disc that came with an issue of Official PlayStation magazine. And just look at the games you can play on it. What good ones too. And this was most likely the demo I played Dog's Life on for the first time, and finding it by chance at a market had to be fate. Although, the disc looks like someone dragged it around a dirt road and then finished off with sandpaper to really fuck it up. Surprisingly, it still works. Loads into the menu at least. Destruction Derby works, don't know why or how. Dog's Life doesn't even load, so I can't really show you what the demo was like. But anyway, playing it for the first time, I remember thinking it was just so cool to be a dog. I could run around, throw things in the air, and explore the world. And then when I finally got the full version, I was able to progress through the game. I could get through the game reasonably well. I don't remember finishing it, but I did get pretty far. I do remember getting to the city at least, but it was just mostly me playing it my own way and making up my own story for what the dog was doing. Look, I had a wild imagination as a kid that probably still hasn't gone away. I also remember thinking the dog looked so realistic. Yeah, that was a time when we didn't quite know what was around the corner for graphics technology. It would be a good couple of years until we heard anything about the Xbox 2 and the PlayStation 3.
$599 US.
Okay, Dog's Life. Right. They are alive, destroy humans, devil make... Nah. Dog's Life. Dog's Life. The hell is this doing here? Bloody thing.
This isn't some kind of furry shit, is it?
Don't worry. It's got nothing to do with that, Duke.
Good, because I don't want to have to suffer through any more of your weird ass and perverted interests before I have a brain hemorrhage. The pony shit was enough. I'll choke a fucking horse if I have to see another Twilight Princess Sparkles, Pinkie Pies, Tinky Winky, Dipsy, Lala, Poe, Rainbow Shitface, Cutie Cuck Crusaders, or Best Princesses who can have tea parties in the meadows or any other of that pussy bullshit.
You finished? You're just pissed because I took too long with the Doom 64 review, aren't you?
Yeah, just start the fucking game already, dickhead.
Already have, Duke.
When we start a new game, we get a CG movie for our viewing pleasure, rivaling that of Pixar or DreamWorks.
Hi,
Actually, I take that back. It rivals whoever made Food Fight.
I'm Jake, and this...
Yeah, his name's Jake. Jake the dog. He's a foxhound. No, not that foxhound. And he's, well, very eccentric.
Being a dog. Watch this.
He farted and killed a butterfly. You know, I can only imagine this would have been fucking hilarious to me when I was 10 years old.
She's been ignoring.
How much do I gotta pay you to never make that face again?
That's Daisy.
Ah, so that's the girl you want to bang, eh?
Lately, she's been ignoring you.
I can't possibly imagine why.
Well, we'll see about that.
Wow, Jake, you really fucking impress her. Just look at that deformed face. I'm sure she doesn't do that for everyone.
Oh, yes, she will be mine.
You know, that's one of the best ways to get the ladies. Just let one rip in their knickers, just... Actually, you know, one of the best methods to get them, I think, is just taking a shit right in front of them. That really gets their Niagara Falls flowing, if you know what I'm saying.
Daisy?
All of a sudden, someone kidnaps Daisy. But in Jake's haste to save her, they nab him too, and place him inside the truck without closing the door properly. Wayne and Dwayne are our culprits. Wayne is an allergy-ridden, stereotypical clean freak, and poor Dwayne here, well, he might have had too many punches to the head a few too many times. The poor fucker is just following orders he doesn't quite understand the meaning behind. Also, I don't know if these two are just co-workers, brothers, or lovers. Possibly all three. What? Of course, because Dwayne didn't shut the door properly, Jake tumbles out the back, and it's on to the start of the game. And we start off in Clarksville, the first region, and the first area, the farmhouse. Straight away, as soon as you take control of Jake, you know you're controlling a dog, because there's one good thing I can say about this game right off the bat, it's the way they animated the dogs. Especially since you're controlling one for the entire game, he feels like he has weight behind him, you know? It really is something that kept me captivated when I first played it all those years ago. I mean, the developers had to take time with that, seeing as the game is called Dog's Life, after all, and it's certainly not a parody game like Goat Simulator, for example. Yeah, you can do some stupid things like chase cats, throw things in the air and bark at everything, annoy people in cars, on bikes or snowmobiles, but it mostly stays within the confines of reasonable reality. From moving around, barking, digging, jumping, pissing on things, these all add to the charm of playing as a dog. Now, I suppose you could class Dog's Life as a multi-genre kind of game. I mean, it's kind of a dog simulator, a platformer, an open-world adventure game, and a collectathon. Because to even begin to progress in this game, you need to collect the collagen-infused remains of unidentified animals, also known as bones. And we get our first by following up the hill what I can assume is our owner, an unnamed boy. Let's just call him George, just so he has some sort of identity, because we never fucking hear his name. He wants to race us and then get us to follow him around. Rather simple, get you familiar with how to control Jake if this is your first time playing. Of course, he gives us a bone and then heads off to Grandpa's place. Now, bones are essentially your power stars, jiggies, pagies, gold bananas, golden butt plugs, or whatever else you can think of without going through the gargantuan list of collectibles in these types of games. Anyway, you need bones to progress through the game and get to each region, which there are only 3 all up, plus the 2 final areas which are gated by bone collection. You can find bones either buried or hidden in various places, but probably the main way you'll be collecting anything in this game is in the first person view, or as the game calls it, smell-o-vision, which just sounds so fucking original. Why not call it doggy senses or canine vision or some shit? I don't know, anything sounds better than a rejected idea from the retro age of film. Now, when you're in this view, it's like an FPS. A first-person sniffer, that is. The point of this mode is to find scents which are scattered throughout the various areas of the game. You'll also find bones and anything else buried, items of interest, and footprints while in this view. Unfortunately, it doesn't control like an FPS from this era. The left analog stick moves you forward and turns you, pretty much GoldenEye controls. Now, this is a major mechanic of the game, and you'll spend a lot of time in this view since you need to be able to collect the scents to get most of the bones in this game. There are 9 different coloured scents spread across all the areas of the game, and each area you visit has 4 types to collect. 3 of them will always be different colours, but the ones that are consistent in every area are the purple scents, and there are always 50 of those to find. These are kind of like your music notes from Banjo-Kazooie or gemstones from Spyro.
And of course, you will be the victim of the collectathon curse of trying to find this one scent that you missed somewhere and you just can't find it, so you traverse high and low looking for it, and all of a sudden you find it, and then you're suddenly wondering how the hell you were so blind the first time around.
Now, the other scents are all different colours, correlating to the different mini-games and challenges. 2 of the scents will give you timed scent collection challenges. Blue is a checkpoint challenge, and you have to collect them all in a specific path, whereas the violet scents can be collected in any order within the time limit. This one's probably the most difficult, seeing as the thing you'll have to contend most with is your field of vision, and only seeing scents just a couple of meters ahead of you. I've had to retry these ones so many times because a scent was somewhere I couldn't see immediately, or I completely missed it because it was hidden somewhere. There's also the 6 other scents, which when you collect every scent of the same colour will thrust you into a minigame, in which you will face off against the dog that dominates the area. These are called the top dog contests, and if you want to be able to have a chance to beat them, you'll need to have more bones than the other dog. But of course, you can try your hand at versing the dog while having fewer bones, it will just be a lot harder. I, however, never experienced the challenge, seeing as I always seem to have more bones than my opponent. Yellow scents are the P marking challenge. Fucking appropriate, really. It's the one colour you'd more than likely associate with piss. In this challenge, you compete with the other dog by marking your territory, taking over as many quadrants as you can, and you win by claiming more than half of your opponent. This is probably the only fun minigame in my opinion. It's the only one that actually has a bit of strategy to it, and it can be at least a little bit challenging. Orange scents are tug of war, where you have to mash the circle button to get the other dog over the line. And they're fucking easy to beat as long as you have more bones than the other dog. The only challenge, I suppose, is finding what you can do with the other hand while the other one is mashing the circle button. Cyan scents are a digging race, and again, mashing the circle button just with a little more involvement, seeing as you have to move to every dig site. And of course, you dig faster by having more bones. Pink scents are pursuit, where you have to catch the dog running away from you, and the speed you go, again, is depending on how many bones you have. The green scents are a racing minigame, where you have to collect the most treats and beat the other dog to the finish line. I like to call this one the collectathon rally. It was also resurrected as an opening minigame in Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts. Wait, why the fuck am I talking about that piece of shit? Get out of here! All these minigames will give you the ability to either assume control of the dog of the area for a set amount of time, or it'll give you bones, depending on which minigame you won first, of course. Finally, there are the red scents, and when collected, initiate the Doggy Do challenge, where you have to repeat the moves that the other dog performs so you can learn a new trick. It's basically the Clefairy minigame in Pokemon Stadium, just without a hammer clobbering your brains out if you get it wrong. Speaking of which, this is probably the first challenge you're going to encounter, seeing as they're all in the same general area with some jumping involved, and there's only 4 to sniff. And this might also be the first you learn how to take a shit. I'm not joking, you can make the dog assume the position to push out a turd or let one go.
Oh, you know, this exclusive PlayStation 2 game is up there with the best of them. Ratchet and Clank, Jak and Daxter, Sly Raccoon, Dog's Life. The game where you get to shit yourself. And pick up the shit in your mouth. Wait, hang on. Yeah, so I just need to confirm with a closer inspection. yeah, he's got shit in his mouth. For a second, I thought it was pork sausage. Yeah, you know, look. No, it's shit. It's shit. You know what? I can't believe this hasn't got a HD remaster yet.
So anyway, by winning the challenge, we learn how to beg. Do we ever use it again? Well, apart from begging people for treats, that's about the only use. You don't have to beg humans for bones, it's not a requirement for a quest, you don't even use it to impress other dogs, it's just there in the game to do because you're a dog, and dogs need to learn useless tricks after all. This could have been utilised a lot better, but maybe they just didn't have enough time to implement it properly. But anyway, we move on to collect more scents and also compete in the minigames like racing and pissing, to earn the power to possess Lopez into doing our bidding and netting us a bone in this empty house. Does anyone live here? Who knows? Did someone steal all the fucking furniture? Probably. Now, these challenges make sense within reasonable reality, and so too do the finding of the bones, which are often hidden in various places that we have to explore to find. Sometimes digging them up, and sometimes finding them out in the open. Sometimes it's a physics-based puzzle, like this one where you have to chuck the ball into the basketball hoop, and that's fun and all. But then there are ones like this one, which is gotten by I did it before I started recording. What the fuck? What did I do different that time? Was it because I hugged the wall? I don't know. Now, what really doesn't seem based in reality is doing favors for human beings. In this world, it's like every fucking person can communicate with a dog perfectly. They rely on them for help with complex tasks that I don't think many dogs in real life can even do. And when we complete these requests, they reward us with those sweet, sweet animal remains we crave, which everyone in this world also seems to carry around with them. This first guy we meet, actually, I can believe he would ask a dog for help even in real life, seeing as he sounds like Tommy Chong's lost cousin.
Hey, dog dude, bring me a battery and I toss you a bone.
Also, I'm pretty sure it's the same voice actor that's voicing Jake, Kerry Shale. That goes for all the human male NPCs in this game, which this game is a fucking Guinness World Records entry for most named characters to be voiced by one actor. I'm not even joking. Look. Anyway, this hippie asked us to find batteries for his guitar amp. Mate, if you just look behind you, you could have found one. But going into first-person mode to discover his footprints, he must have been on one weird trip because they certainly turn up in weird places. I suppose he was looking for a bit of spiritual connection to Kay through this waterfall, and while he was high, he threw away a battery in this garbage bin and left another behind the barn. Also, I just realized something. This is literally a fucking fetch quest. You know, 'cause he's a dog. He, of course, gives us a bone for finding all his batteries and then rocks out on his guitar for us. Wait a second, are we forgetting something? Oh shit, the boy. Right. Well, he's been waiting at Grandpa's while I've been fucking about on my collection quest. This poor old bastard is sleeping, and this fucking kid wants us to wake him up.
Jake, that ain't fair.
Jake, you bad boy!
You little shit, you told me to do it. Own up to your actions, wanker.
I was dreaming about the Clarksdale cheerleading team winning the big mud wrestling competition. Yes, sirree, Bob.
Mate, there's a kid right in front of you. There's this thing called inside voice. Maybe you should use it. After this, we never fucking see this boy again. He doesn't even follow us anyway, he doesn't go to any of the other regions, he just quantum leaps out of the game, and as far as we know, he's become a random NPC in another game. But Gramps, oh Gramps, let's talk about this bloke for a second, shall we? He spends most of his days sleeping and occasionally calling up the local radio station to beg a woman to visit him.
Oh, Clarice, you know how I feel about you.
Well, I'm not sure I follow you there, Gramps.
It gets lonely down here on the farm. So I was wondering, Clarice, if you'd like to pop around sometime. We could watch Kylie on the video machine. Oh, that there Kylie is a mighty fine dancer. And when she shakes her cute little...
Hey there, folks.
Now, every time we bark to wake him up, he has something to say that is always just... I don't know what the fuck even.
Oh, please, let me feel the rubber one. Ooh, very interesting dream. Highly educational. Oh, that's it. Up a bit. Right there. Now, squeeze. Ouch. Ooh. No, officer. I found her like that, dressed up in this shiny, tight red... Ooh.
You found her in a shiny red what, Grandpa? Do I even want to know? Do I even want to know what he fucking dreams of all day?
You know what? I'm beginning to think he's number 32 on the FBI sex offender registry.
I never owned a banana costume. It was that dream again. I thought they'd found my inflatable...
Actually, scratch that. He's number 8 on the UN Charter for Human Rights Violations.
See, if you're a kid playing this, none of this is really going to click in with you. Unless it's been a decade and a half later and you play this game for the first time in 15 years, and upon saying that now I feel really old.
You know, this car keeps driving around in the same fucking loop over and over again. Does this person have anything better to do with their time? Of course, their whole existence has just been a means for me to jump onto the roof of the house here to collect the scent stuck up there. But still, I have to point this out because my thoughts run rampant as to what the fuck this person does all day long. Does he even live here? Is he a stalker? Does he really love driving his shitty SUV? We'll never know. Well, looks like we got everything there is to collect in this area. Got all the bones, all the scents. So basically, that's 100% for this area.
Oh yeah, we're doing a 100% complete playthrough of this entire game. Yeah, I'm questioning that too. Look, I don't know, maybe it's because I'm a sucker for collecting things, or maybe it's some deep childhood desire that I need to fulfill. Look, either way, we're doing this Gerard the Completionist style. I haven't quite got the beard, but you know what? I've got the heart, damn it.
Anyway, let's head on over to the next area, the watermill. And straight away we meet this redneck. And well, he's lost his ox. He doesn't remember where he left it.
'Cause he's a fucking dickhead.
So of course, he asks the dog to go find it for him. And going into our first person mode, we discover footprints leading to the top of the mountain area, where we have to do a bit of jumping, and we find it in the same place where he was apparently using his axe. Yeah, I'm just wondering how this guy dresses himself in the morning. Apparently a tree hit him in the head and he hasn't been the same ever since. But I don't think that's why he's stupid. Let's just say his parents share a grandmother. Anyway, we pick up the axe, traverse down the mountain. Oh shit, Jake, what are you gonna do with that? Look, think about this, Jake. Is it really worth it? Think of the consequences, mate. So when you give this halfwit his ox back, holy shit, is he one happy motherfucker that just loves his ox. And he will continue to celebrate the fact that he got his ox back for the remainder of his life.
I love my axe. Yee-haw! Come to daddy. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Yippee-yi-oh-ki-yay. Yippee-yi-oh-ki-yay. I love my axe. Come to daddy. I love my axe.
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
So, we continue to collect scents and compete in the mini-games to take control of the Dalmatian, which we have to get a bone from this swan asshole. For some reason he stole it. Look, I assume he's just trying to hide the remains of the victim he just killed. Probably. Eventually, you'll come across this mad scientist guy trying to launch a makeshift rocket that North Korea would blush at.
They said it couldn't be done, but I, Professor Ludwig von Schnitzelmacher, will be the first to send a homemade rocket to Pluto.
Wow, it's like he's a cross between Peter Lorre and Smeagol. Anyway, he rees behind the fence like a fucking jockey from Left 4 Dead. And of course, the rocket blows up, scattering all the pieces everywhere, and he has a whinge about it.
My beautiful rocket! Oh, it must have been that 3-volt flux capacitor I used.
3-volt flux capacitor? Mate, you're building a rocket ship, not a fucking time machine. So anyway, we're tasked to look for the pieces scattered all about the area, and we may as well collect those scents while we're at it. The rocket pieces are easy enough to find. You can see them smoking and smouldering on the ground, and they're all shaped weirdly to the point where it just looks silly with Jake picking them up in his mouth. I mean, look at the first person view for this one. Looks like this wouldn't be out of place if it was a Gun and Unreal tournament. And this one, well, you know what? Let's just smell it out for a second. I think you're giving me a contact hole. Wow, this is trippy, man. Oh, man, I feel like I'm on Jupiter. Hey, what are you smoking, man? Dude, this some good shit. Wow, I can smell from here. What'd they put in it? I don't know, man. I think it's from outer space. Really? Can I try some? Nah, dog, this is my stash. Go get your own. Hey, come on, man. Just share a puff with me, man. No, fuck off, Pongo. Oh, come on, man. I gotta deal with raising 101 kids all day long. I don't care, dude. Come on, man. Just a puff. You got heaps there. Yeah, but I gotta make sure I last the trip to Mars, man. We find and return all the rocket parts to Schnitzelfucker here, and then we get 2 bones for all our fetch questing trouble. Nice. We're not done yet, though, and god damn it, I'm trying to look for those last couple of cents. They're just hanging around somewhere. Well, anyway, I found this cave, and we get to the top of it with a bit of jumping over gaps, and now we have to jump over to this little island over there, which I fail a few times because Jake sucks at being a video game character. It's also the time that I realize this game has a hidden health system and hunger mechanic that doesn't give you any indication of what level they're at, and the only time you can tell is when Jake runs so fucking slow and mopes his head to the ground. This can either happen over time, or it can happen if you fall from a high place or fail at Dog Physics 101. This gets pretty annoying, and you'll see why later on. At the very least, if you find a bone, he perks right up. You can also eat pretty much anything you find that looks edible. You can find food in crates that you can break open by barging into them. You can do the same with rubbish bins too. You can also beg humans for treats, like I mentioned before. Although there is a chance when you eat something, even treats, it'll be rotten, and we'll just end up giving Jake gas, and he'll be back to low health, which you'll need to take a shit to stop the farting. And thankfully there's no explosive diarrhea in this game. This isn't Conker's Bad Fur Day level of humour.
This is far from dignified.
It can be quite a gamble whether you're going to get something that's harmful to you or beneficial. However, placed sometimes inside houses, and beside every dog house in the game, which is also the place you save your progress, there's a bowl of Pedigree brand dog food just waiting there for your delectable pleasure.
I don't know why, but I feel as though this game might be sponsored by Pedigree. I just can't put my finger on it. I mean, every time I pause the game or there's a loading screen, it's just a can of Pedigree brand dog food, just waiting right there in the corner. Nah, I'm sure it's nothing.
So we give Jake his pick-me-up, and he's back to normal and no longer a depressed goat. Now back to searching for the one fucking scent that I can't... I seriously... Where the fuck is it? I feel as though I've searched everywhere. I've searched in places that I think I've missed. Where the fuck is... Of course. Of course it's there. I missed it because I wasn't in sniff mode when I was traversing up this cave. I'm a dickhead. Next area, big field. And I've got to say, this is where I noticed the music for this game is actually okay. The guitar music fits the whole country theme of Clarksville and certainly makes this area pleasant to be in. I mean, it's not among the best video game compositions ever, but for a game like this, it's alright. So this is a large open area, and the most obvious feature here is the field of sheep, and well, you can figure out the obvious thing we're meant to do with these sheep. No, you sick fuck. We have to herd the sheep back into the enclosure, which is something I'm familiar with. I mean, I played Twilight Princess. Now, Jake can do it himself, but it is hard because Jake just isn't a sheepdog. And seeing as there is a sheepdog here doing absolutely fucking nothing to help his owner, so we'll just take possession of him by winning a literal pissing contest. We assume control of this insect-ridden furry earth animal and herd the fluffy white earth animals into the imprisoning square.
Never seen her work so hard. Almost like she was possessed.
Oh, fuck, he's catching on. Anyway, thanks for the bone, shithead. Moving on to more scent collection because I just have to collect fucking everything. Also, I just noticed this hot air balloon in the distance flying around. Hold on, what's written on the... Oh. No, of course. We've got to know who sponsors this game after all. It's Triple H's finishing move.
You know, I think this game is trying to sell me Pedigree.
Next area, the chicken farm, and we find this redneck with a double-barreled fucking shotgun. He tells us there's a conniving fox prowling around, tormenting these poor poultry pricks. So he wants us to chase away this fox for him. Mate, you got a shotgun. Those things can kill hordes of demons. Trust me, I know. Well, anyway, with Jake being a foxhound, this is sure to be a breeze. I can't even catch this fucking fox. Oh, fuck. Come on, you bastard. fuck, that was close. I nearly had the fucker. So I just did some exploring and sniffing around for scents. Did a checkpoint challenge, which ended up being Jake's Mono parkour over the roofs of the chicken housing. Did a tug of war with the local dog. Then I raced him and caught him in literally 10 seconds. I'm not even joking. And then Jake just celebrates in the most what the fuck even kind of way. Well, I better collect all those bones I just earned from the Pedigree Bowl and okay. Hard okay. You alright, Jake? I didn't mean to turn you into a fucking gold medalist Olympic acrobat. So I found this foxhole by accident, thinking there was sense in there. This dark void of blackness that I initially thought was a glitch. And then I got to see the great cloudy blue abyss that is the game's skybox. I'm sure that the developers didn't intend anyone to be here. I thought maybe I could glitch the game out and try to clip through here, but to no avail. Then after going back to the chicken coop, by some stroke of luck, and something I didn't even intend to happen, the fox just runs right into me. And that counts as me catching him. And the fox just runs off into the black vaginal void he calls his home. This is also the part where we find out from the Redneck, after finding the newspaper clippings for him, that dogs have been going missing in a place called Lake Minnewawa.
I don't know what it is. I just feel like hurling every time I try to say the name. Lake You see?
Second last area of Clarksville, village houses. A quaint little neighborhood area. This kid wants to get a letter to his friend who's grounded and her mother doesn't want her daughter to have any contact with anyone. What a bitch. She also doesn't like Jake, so we need the other dog, or,
My little Snooky Wookie.
Well, we beat him in a digging race and earn the ability to possess, Snooky the Wookie here to give the letter to the girl, which, if you haven't guessed already, we'll get a bone for that. Oh, hey, look, a cat. Oh, okay. You can pick up the cat in your mouth. Just casually. Put it in my mouth. Also, were you hiding cat food up your ass? Because that just popped out of you. Oh, and by the way, you can do that with all the small animals in this game. Just nonchalantly pick up a skunk or a rat and just chuck them wherever. Even chickens aren't safe from your slobbery grasp. Alrighty then. Finally, the last area of Clarksville, the center. And the location of the train station that'll get us to Lake Minnewawa. Right, first off, scent collection. And that's easy enough, except when it comes to the fucking time scent collection. I had to retry this one several times. The scents just aren't in an obvious path, and coupled with the fact that you don't see scents until you're a few meters in front of them, yeah, just what the fuck? Where the fuck is it?
Where is it?
Shut the fuck up, Duke! The dog of this area is the dog catcher's Doberman, and we basically make him our bitch after winning the tug of war against a ghost. Yeah, what the fuck? Okay, don't worry. His model just didn't load in. He was just taking a piss. His only use in this area is bothering the lady at the cash register in the shop to give us a bone. This place is also the first time you'll see the Poodle Parlor, and it stands out because you'll notice the Pedigree branding straight away. Now, something you may or may not have noticed is the dirt build-up around Jake's legs. This happens very quickly after you start the game, and the only way to get Jake clean again is to go to these pet parlors, which look like it would actually hurt. I think it might be assembling a new cybernetic model of Jake rather than cleaning him, and so when we're clean, we look good as new, or at least as good as when Jake spawned into existence. And what does that do for us? Absolutely nothing diddly fucking squat. It does fuck all. Yep, just like the tricks you learn, it doesn't make you any more presentable to a human to the point where they'll give you a bone. Yeah, sure, they'll make comments whether you're clean or dirty, and they'll tell you to go away if you are dirty. But being clean doesn't even do anything with that hidden health mechanic. So really, there's no point to these Pedigree branded pet parlors aside from it just advertising to you Pedigree branded dog food and making you look clean and sparkly because it was the almighty Pedigree that made you so. And right outside the building is a Pedigree branded vending machine. I'd half expect to see one of these in Japan. And you don't even have to pay, because even a dog can operate it. As long as you worship Pedigree, of course. Pedigree shall provide.
I don't remember opening a can of Pedigree. I don't even remember buying it. Can't be that bad, can it? Dog in the game eats it, so fuck it.
So these kids want to have some fun, and they want eggs to throw at the butcher, which will basically open up a chance for us to get the bone that's stashed in there. And he won't let us in his butcher shop because he really, really doesn't like dogs.
I hate dogs. Scram you before I get my gun.
Don't you think that's a little extreme, mate? So the only place I can think of to get eggs is that chicken coop that's like several loading screens away. Alright, fine. So I hike it all the way to get a fucking egg for these shit nugget kids. I throw it at the asshole butcher, right in his balls, by the way, and then we can get the bone. But during some more scent collection, I discover something. And would you believe it? There was a fucking chicken hiding behind this fence the whole time. Which is just fucking great.
Dog catch
catcher?
Oh, you can fuck right off. You do realize that's a machine dogs can use, right? It's free on the street corner. What makes yours so special? Well, running away from the dog catcher's dog is easy, but the funny thing is, he's supposed to be my bitch. I beat him in a tug-of-war and a collectathon race. I can assume control over you, and you have the gall to chase me? Well, you just made yourself number one on the shit list, my friend. And with that, we've got all the bones. We certainly have enough to get past the Doberman, so now we can take the train and move on to Lake Minnie. We get a short cutscene with Wayne and Dwayne calling up the main culprit of this whole scheme, Miss Peaches. She's a cat lover, and she also owns a cat food business. You also hear her from time to time whenever there's a radio playing somewhere, and her plan is to kidnap as many dogs as she can and turn them into cat food.
Of course!
She needs some therapy. This really is an unhealthily extreme hatred of dogs. Not only do you want to kill them and possibly exterminate them, you actually want to turn them into food so that they can be consumed by felines. Now that is a sinister fucking villain right there.
Of course, you never get to see her in the main game, or Wayne and Dwayne for that matter, aside from the cutscenes. The only person who's ever a hindrance to you is the dog catcher, but you could take all the cutscenes away from this game, and the game would still make sense. Well, that was the main region. On to the next. Hey Dick, how are we going for time?
You went overtime, dickhead. The video's too damn long.
I waffled on too much, didn't I? Well, looks like it's going to be in 2 parts then. Well, see you next time, folks. Hopefully it's not going to take another 6 months just to get the second part out.
Hello there, Sean the Extra Guy here, and thank you for watching part 1 of Dog's Life. Well, I didn't think it would actually be in 2 parts, but it was. I honestly didn't expect to get this much material out of this game. While I was writing it, it ended up being bigger than bloody Spellcaster, which, as you may know, was in 2 parts as well. But anyway, hope you enjoyed it nonetheless, so just wait around for part 2, because, well, that should be, I'll pretty much start editing it immediately after posting this video. So hopefully that shouldn't take too long. But of course, if it's the future, well, the video's already out, isn't it? You can just click the link in the description or the pop-up somewhere. But anyway, like and share the video. You know it helps me out. Subscribe if you haven't already. And as always, stay safe and have a nice day.